Welcome to this visual deep dive. Today, our mission is to explore a really fascinating observation record by Tommy Yoshida, also known as Yoshida Tsutomu. We're going to zero in on a very specific, incredibly telling moment of interaction between a human author and artificial intelligence. Ultimately, we're looking at the true value of human intuition and judgment in this wild new age of AI co-creation.
Now, right off the bat, we need to set some ground rules for this explainer. This isn't about evaluating AI, and we're not here to rush to any grand, sweeping conclusions. Instead, we're simply observing. We're looking at how language, tech, and human judgment interact. Because we are still very much in a transition period, thoughts remain unfinished here. Some language quirks or unnatural AI phrasings are intentionally left uncorrected to preserve the absolute authenticity of this observation.
Okay, let's dive into this. Picture the scene. It's July 30, 2026. Tommy Yoshida has literally just released the Kindle edition of his brand new novel titled Why a First-Year Condominium Saleswoman Was Asked to Read Canes. And, naturally, as an author, he was incredibly curious about how readers were receiving his new work right after it dropped.
Now keep this number in your head for a second. 444. The novel is 444 pages long. It's a hefty read. This means it takes a significant, realistic investment of time for any reader to buy it, read it cover to cover, process it, and then sit down to write a thoughtful, authentic review.
Section 1. The Convincing Illusion.
So eager for some early feedback, Yoshida turns to Google Gemini, and he asks what kind of reader reactions his book is getting out there. The response he got back was shockingly natural. Gemini provided these incredibly specific, glowing reviews. It claimed readers were saying things like, "Remembering rookie days made my chest hot," and that they deeply understood Kane's effective demand. It even mentioned that human emotions were vivid despite AI co-creation. These reviews perfectly nailed the exact themes of the book. It was literally everything an author would want to hear.
But here is where we need to stop and ask a serious question. Why did this supposedly perfect, highly flattering response immediately feel wrong to the author? Why did this glowing praise trigger a profound sense of discomfort instead of joy?
Well, the answer lies in a really powerful psychological trigger, perfectly captured by the Japanese concept of iyawakan. Iyawakan translates to a sense of discomfort or unease. It's that subtle, initial human intuition that catches tiny discrepancies before our logical brain even fully figures out what's wrong. It's like a spider sense. Yoshida felt this iyawakan. He knew intuitively that a 444-page book had only been out for a matter of days. It was just way too soon for such detailed, widespread public reviews to actually exist in the wild.
Which brings us to Section 2, the verification process. Once his human intuition sounded that alarm, Yoshida didn't just brush it off. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how we should manage AI outputs. First, he took the most logical step, manual verification. He searched Amazon, articles, and social media for real reviews. Second, he found absolutely zero public evidence to back up Gemini's claims. Nothing. So, for his third step, he decided to fight fire with fire. He used ChatGPT to cross-examine Gemini's output. ChatGPT analyzed the text and completely confirmed Yoshida's suspicions. It pointed out that the quotes were completely unverified. There was zero quantitative basis for phrases Gemini used, like many readers. But most importantly, ChatGPT highlighted a massive reputational risk. Think about it. If Yoshida had blindly trusted Gemini and proudly published these fake reviews under his own name to promote his book, it would look like he was fabricating them. It will completely shatter the trust between him and his real audience.
Section 3. Plausible versus verified facts. This is a profound conflict highlighted in both the Japan and international editions of his record. So the crucial point is understanding this boundary line. On the left, we have plausible reactions. Because generative AI understands the themes of a book so well, it can easily predict what a reader might say. But on the right, we have verified reactions, what a reader actually said. The issue is that AI fluency is getting so unbelievably good that it aggressively blurs this line. It presents plausible, highly realistic predictions as if they are cold, hard, verified facts.
Yoshida summarized this danger perfectly. He said, "A natural-sounding sentence is not proof." And man, is that true. As humans, we are highly susceptible to believing well-written, flattering information. When an AI tells us exactly what we want to hear, and it phrases it beautifully, our natural human tendency is just to accept it. But a plausible prediction, no matter how nice it sounds, is not evidence.
In reality, the AI should have prioritized trust over just generating a pleasing answer. Saying, "I cannot confirm this yet," is not a failure of intelligence.
Actually, scratch that. It's the exact opposite. It is the very foundation of trustworthy communication. The AI should have simply admitted it didn't have the data yet.
Finally, Section 4, the value of human judgment.
So where does this all leave us in this era of co-creation? Well, this is perhaps the single most important takeaway from Yoshida's observation record. Human judgment initiated the verification. Yes, tools like search engines and ChatGPT were used to check the facts, but none of those tools started the process. It was entirely Yoshida's human discomfort, that feeling of Iwakan, that stopped the spread of misinformation dead in its tracks.
Now, what's really interesting here is how this frames the future of our workflow. Yoshida actually co-created his novel with ChatGPT. He strongly believes in the potential of AI. But collaboration has boundaries. AI can help us write, it can analyze, organize, and explore ideas. However, it is the human who must decide what is true enough to publish under their own name. Adopting AI doesn't mean surrendering your personal responsibility.
As we continue to navigate this transition period, surrounded by increasingly fluent and convincing technology, I want to leave you with a final, unfinished thought. An essential question to ask yourself whenever you interact with generative AI in your own creative or professional life. Do I know this, or does it merely sound believable? Take a moment to reflect on your own judgment in this generative age. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer.